Fishy, fishy, fishy.
What's going on, fishy friends? Let's do an angelfish update. These are the 5 juvies I got at my local fish store. I did a video a while back. One day when I visited my local fish store, a lady who breeds angels was there, and I was able to grab 6 juvies from her before they ever got put into the tank at the fish store. These guys are getting pretty big pretty quickly. I sort of treat them the way I would juvenile discus. I'm keeping them in a bare bottom tank. I feed them heavily multiple times a day using an auto feeder. I try to do daily water changes. This tank was cleaned, you know, sparkling, pristinely clean yesterday, and this is what we get within a day. So that's why a bare bottom tank is nice, because that kind of stuff would easily go hidden in a tank with substrate. Even if you do a weekly water change, you're not getting rid of that much waste in a tank. So having a bare bottom tank is nice for growing out young fish, because you can ensure really pristine water. Get a bad glare on this tank and it's hard to film, but you can sort of tell the size of these guys. Now, in comparison, anybody who's followed along knows about, I don't know, I guess we'll call him Lucky, the little angel that just won't quit. I got him at the same time as those other 5 fish. This is the one that has something wrong with him. But she, I don't know. I don't think it's grown at all since the day I got it. Compared to the other 5 fish that were born theoretically at the same time from the same group, and have grown like crazy. Another quick comparison are the 2 angels I got over here. These 2, I believe, came from the same breeder. I bought them at the same local fish store. I got these maybe 2 weeks before I got those other 6. These 2 are doing well. They're not kept in a bare bottom tank. I do not feed this tank as heavily. I do not clean the water or do water changes as often in this tank. And while these fish are pretty healthy and look good, they're not growing anywhere near as quickly or as big as these guys. These guys are getting a bit large for this tank, but again, since I do the daily water changes and keep this tank pretty clean, I don't think there's any problem in keeping them in here for a little while longer. So I'm going to let them keep growing out. If 2 of them pair up, that'd be great. I'm in no rush for that to definitely happen. My intent never was to breed angels, but angels can be a beautiful fish. I wouldn't mind breeding them as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure of the exact type. That guy looks like he's a part koi. He's got a bit of that yellowish, orangish across the front of the body. That one in the back too, you know, across the nose area, I guess we could say. You know, if anybody wants to let me know what they would consider these other 3, I'd love to hear it. I know there's plenty of different names for all these different fish, and these are probably not any specific type. They were probably some sort of crossbreed, I guess would be the best explanation. But for an impulse buy, I'm pretty happy with the way these guys are turning out. They eat voraciously. I mean, look at them go to the top of the tank just when they see my hand. I just hit the button on the feeder. Let's see what it dumps. There they go. They found it before it even hit the surface of the water. I only fed these guys maybe 20 minutes ago. I will often hit the button on the feeder and give them an extra feeding on top of what the pre-programmed schedule on the feeder does. This particular feeder is one that got damaged somehow. I think it got really wet and it gets gummed up sometimes, so sometimes it takes a few hits to work. But you can see them just go absolutely crazy for food. I'm feeding them a real high quality flake food from Ken's Fish. I think right now in that feeder I'm using the earthworm flake food. Let's see, this is the beef heart flake that I give most of the discus. I got blackworm flake, I also give that to the discus, and Ken's premium flakes with earthworms. I recently started using that in this particular tank, and I think I've tried a bit of that flake in almost any of the tanks with discus or angels, and they all seem to like it. That feeder now has nothing but that earthworm flake. Whereas the feeders on my discus tanks might have a combination of blackworm and beef heart flake. It's a good high quality flake food. There's a listing of the ingredients and, more importantly, the analysis of the protein, the fat, the fiber, etc. High protein relatively low fat is always good for growing out fish. Just as a comparison, here is the beef heart, 46% protein, 10% fat. Blackworm is 43% protein, 12.6% fat. And the earthworm is 42% protein, 4% fat. And others. So that's a good food to feed fish. I'm also a big fan of the Australian blackworms. Just got another shipment from them recently, and I try to feed my breeding pair. The only thing they'll eat are those blackworms, essentially. They seem to snub any kind of flake for some reason. They're looking pretty good. They haven't started breeding again. I hope they will soon. But I think these are two pretty good looking fish. They're my best looking discus, that's for sure. Watching them is always entertaining. I've seen a bit of breeding behavior, a bit of shimmying and shaking and dancing, but they've not yet laid eggs on the cone again since before the summer. So hopefully that'll happen again soon. And I guess that's about it for now. Alright guys, I'll check in soon. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, follow Rich's Fishes on Instagram, and hit that subscribe button down below, and check out all my videos. I'll see you soon.